in the wake of the news that Joe Biden almost certainly, am I going too far? I don't think so, is going to drop his bid for re-election, we decided to take a stroll down memory lane and look at the show that has hands down had the most emotional story arc. We're, of course, referring to Morning Joe and its star, Joe Scarborough. There has been no one who has defended President Biden quite like he has. After the Robert Hur report called the president a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, Joe was enraged. He told us Biden is cogent. In fact, more than cogent. He was insulting him by calling him just merely cogent. He's better than ever. Then after the debate, Joe Scarborough admitted that Joe Biden tragically did not rise to the occasion. Then it was, hold on, Dems, give Mr. Biden time to decide his own fate. Anything could happen, a resurrection of sorts. And now Scarborough is back to admitting it's not going to end well if this keeps dragging out. Would you watch this?
I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
He spent much of the night with his mouth agape and his eyes darting back and forth. He couldn't fact check anything Donald Trump said. He missed one layup after another after another. He tragically did not rise to the occasion last night. This is the last chance for Democrats to decide whether this man we've known and loved for a very long time is up to the task of running for president of the United States. It is July the 5th. This happened 8 days ago, and decision time is not upon us yet. And I think we should first honor a man who was first on the ballot 54 years ago by giving him the time and the space to make his decision. Such an historic decision should not be made in haste. But Joe Biden now has what I would dream of having if I were running for president. Joe Biden now can say he's having to fight media elites, billionaire donors, Washington politicians. You know, it's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president and help the man they love and do the right thing. This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out.
Oh, Joe. You know what came to mind as soon as I watched those clips? Who remembers the movie Sybil? Here's a short little clip.
No, you keep them away from me. I will do it. He doesn't care. I just love you to death. Bush little peck, a hug around the neck. Oh, just tickle. Tickle. Paper is valuable. Yes, it is. It's valuable. You can see now.
I'm dying. My team put the civil clip together. Well done. Joining me now, Matt Taibbi. He's editor of Racket News on Substack. You're the perfect person to have today.
Oh, thank you. Great to be here, Megyn.
I mean, it's really like the stages of grief, right? Denial, bargaining, anger, acceptance.
Yeah, dabda, right? I forget. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, that's what we're watching play out before our very eyes. And I would be remiss if I did not call on the Mika side, because she too is finally, after her. I mean, she just repeated the White House talking points when she came back on the air and tried to say we didn't see what we saw with the debate.
Right.
It was all his advisors' faults for sending him in 9 time zones, 2 weeks ago before the debate. But now even she's coming to see reality. Watch her.
The Dems need to get it together. They really need to get whatever they've got going. Whatever it is, the problem should not be our candidate. The focus should be on Donald Trump. It may or may not be Joe Biden. I trust Joe Biden's abilities. I also trust Nancy Pelosi's political acumen. Nobody knows politics more than her. If there is a change, it's got to be a change that gets Barack Obama behind the candidate, Michelle Obama behind the candidate, George W. Bush behind the candidate, former presidents and world leaders and people who understand the importance of democracy.
Acumen? That's not
I think it's acumen, isn't it?
cumin. It's just like, that's a spice.
Yeah, I was going to say, you put a little bit of it in your chili, I think.
So how about the problem should not be our candidate? Refresh me on how that happened again. Was it people like these two?
Well, the phrase is almost word for word what Joe Biden said in a meeting with donors. He said the bullseye should be on Trump, right? I mean, that's a DNC talking point. The focus should be on Trump. But yeah, no, that entire reel, it's actually worse than that, because if you go back far enough, remember, they were hyping Donald Trump once upon a time.
Oh, I remember.
Right? Oh, it was an epic moment when you were on stage there in South Carolina or wherever it was. So you pick Sybil, I think of Game of Thrones, that character who could change his face on demand,
yeah, that's right?
You know, so, but it's like that. As a comedy writer couldn't come up with something better than that.
They're so insincere. Here's one more of Scarborough, longer of him, and listen to who he's like blaming. Like who he thinks is to blame for the position Joe Biden's in right now.
We have known him for a long time. Mika and her family, extraordinarily close to the Bidens, have always felt a connection. It's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president and help the man they love and do the right thing. This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out. Like the anger that I hear is not at Joe Biden. The anger I hear are at the people that are keeping him in a bubble.
Or who have their own interests.
Or who may have their own interests, some financial, in keeping him in the race. Joe Biden deserves better.
Who? Matt, I can't.
I know. I don't think they're even aware of how bad that sounds. That's the funniest part about it. I mean, he could be describing them.
Yes! It's a confessional.
Right? I covered Joe Biden in 2019, 2020 on the campaign trail. It was obvious to me that he was mentally impaired. Everybody else covered it up. I mean, there were other people who wrote about it, but not these types. And as long as they thought they could get away with it, they did. Now they can't, and now they're saying it's the fault of his aides. Please.
And they're angry. They're angry at the people who have kept him in the bubble, so he couldn't hear the truth.
Right.
What is the truth today? Is it that he's cogent and better than ever? This is the best, or is it that he's not cogent and someone needs to tell him to step aside? I
That's right. Joe said, I know Joe personally. He's never been better. This is the best Biden that there's ever been. He was actually less guarded before, and that was to his detriment. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't even talking about what was relayed to him by aides or anything like that. He was talking about his own personal relationship with Joe Biden.
Okay, if you were not following the news, you may have missed this, but a massive hit to the US dollar just came in June when Saudi Arabia did not renew its 50-year petrodollar deal with the US. Since 1974, Saudi Arabia has sold oil exclusively in US dollars, and that was huge to our global economic dominance. Now they want options other than the dollar. So ask yourself, if there's less demand for the dollar, what happens next? Look, it's reasons like this that Americans are looking at Birch Gold Group. For over 20 years, Birch Gold has helped tens of thousands of Americans protect their savings by converting an IRA or 401k into an IRA into physical gold. To learn more, text the word MK to 989898 and claim your free, no obligation info kit on gold. That's MK to the number 989898. Birch Gold has earned the trust of so many with their education-first approach. There are thousands of happy customers and so many 5-star reviews. Consider protecting your savings with gold before the dollar plunges any further. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.